Hello, baby.
Hello, nasty. Hello there.
Hello.
I say hello.
Hello, friend.
Well, hello, little girl. Hello, my treacherous friends. Hello, operator. The beginning of everything.
Welcome back, my friends.
It's showtime.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 293 of The Brink of Sanity. I am Jay, with me is Mark and the Doc.
Hello.
What's up, Doc? Gotta keep
You're
saying that.
waiting for that one, huh?
What's up, Doc? Oh, I nailed that one. I'm brilliant.
I thought you were going to go first, so there was like this pause.
It was about the anticipation. Doc, what's going on with you? I have not talked to you in a while. I think the last time I talked to you was on the show, and I've not seen you since.
Yeah, we don't see each other in person, I guess.
No, you don't bring me flowers anymore.
Yeah, I heard you guys like mentioning me, like, you know, you guys were like, "Where has he been?" So,
It was funny. I think last show we mentioned we were like, "Yeah, where's Doc been?" We want him back on the show, and lo and behold, he's on the show.
Well, we know we have one listener.
it's hard to get me on the show. You have to like ask me to get me on the show.
Jay was like, I can't figure out his schedule anymore. I'm like, it's every other week. Like, why don't you ask him a week he's not working?
Well, no, because then if he has a vacation, then the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I know you can't remember which week, but yeah, I mean, just ask. You know,
Just ask him, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Is there any way you could ask him, like, send him a message with your phone, his phone, and he gets that and he can reply back? Is there any way?
Just throw me some dates. I'll just pick a date.
You could probably send him a message on Facebook, on Twitter, maybe on Instagram. You could probably send a carrier pigeon like they do in like the Game of Thrones show type thing. You could probably do a lot of different things.
Well, we cleared it up.
You know, when you work in a hospital, sometimes you get stuck in lawsuits and stuff. So anyway,
Got sued?
no, my lawyer. So I was going to get out of a lawsuit because they named me and I wasn't really part of the lawsuit. So they decided, okay, we're going to drop you. So
that must be a nice defense. I wasn't actually their doctor.
Yeah. No, it was like,
okay, you're out.
Like I'm not a surgeon, and they were suing the surgeon, and you know I had seen the patient, and so I don't know. When lawyers sue hospitals and stuff, they just name every doctor that's on the chart, and they don't care who it is. So anyway,
that sounds like fun.
Yeah. So anyway, you know, the lawyer sent me this thing that I had to sign saying that I wasn't part of the surgery, and I sent it back to her a few weeks ago, and I just get an email. It's like, oh, I'm waiting for that letter. You know, the mail. I'm like, oh, I sent it 2 weeks ago. I guess that's the problem with mailing. You can't really. I thought you got it already. I guess not.
I guess, yeah, you want to maybe confirm that so you don't get actually a part of the lawsuit.
Yeah, I don't want to. But
Do you have to? So this happens a lot, I guess. Not that a lot, but more.
Yeah, I mean, the more patients. You know, when you see like hundreds and hundreds of people, it's just going to happen eventually.
Does the hospital pay the lawyer for you, or do you pay the lawyer?
You're covered by malpractice, and you know, I work for the hospital, so the hospital covers that. So it's like an insurance company that has its own like lawyers and stuff.
Okay, so it's not like you have to pay like every time you're like I have to pay another $1,000.
No.
Okay.
I mean, since I'm an employed physician, so the hospital pays my malpractice. So I guess if you get sued a lot, I guess your malpractice probably goes up. But you know, I mean, I've been there for like 9 years, and it's happened once or twice, and both times it was like they were suing somebody else, and just I happened to be named.
Okay.
I mean, it just goes on forever because like you don't hear from the lawyers for years, and then they're like, "Oh, we're still trying to drop you from this one."
Have you thought about just screwing things up majorly just to see what would happen? Like
you're
like, I just want to see what a lawsuit's like.
I mean, like doctors aren't perfect. I mean, there's always like there are mistakes. You know, like, oh, I should have done that. Maybe I should have done that. But it's like that's not the stuff you get sued for. You get sued for the stupidest thing that has nothing to do with you, and then you're like, wait, what was that case again? I never saw the case.
I'm sure also like everything has a risk. Like there's always like there's a percentage chance this happens, and if that happens, people just assume you screwed up, even though like there was just a risk involved.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I'm a hospital doctor, so these patients don't know me. So, you know, when they sue, they don't even know who they're suing. It's just a name. You know, they may remember the name, probably not. Just the lawyer's just finding out who the doctor was, and then just sends off the lawsuit.
Maybe you should put in front of your name not doctor.
Yeah.
That way they can't like sue you.
You know there's a lot of people with my last name, so I just hope that they get confused and pick the wrong one.
But that can go against you also. Every time they try to sue, like they're like, okay,
Yeah.
every person with that. I almost said your last name, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry. We're trying to avoid.
It wouldn't really help someone find me because there's so many of them.
Is your full name like a very common one?
My first name isn't as common. I mean, it's spelled a little differently than the more common spelling. So, my first name
is it weird having your first name be Doc?
Yeah, Doc. Yeah, a lot of Indian doctors aren't named Doc, so it's a little weird.
The last name is super common though. Like,
yeah,
didn't your brother marry somebody with the same last name?
Yeah, it's really like in a certain part of India, it's like everyone just got named the same thing basically.
Is it two things? Is it weird when your people are like, "Mom, I want to be a lawyer"? Your name is Doc.
I had no choice. She named me Doc. So.
And is it like? I guess you guys don't make the stuff like the jokes of like, "Oh, you're marrying your brother."
Yeah.
His last name, but I guess it's much more common.
I mean, it really sucks for his brother who's named Garbage Man.
I asked my sister-in-law, I'm like, are you going to change your name? But, her name was already the same name, so it was kind of a joke. She should just change it to something else completely.
Just to throw everybody off.
Is it, so your last name, is it, I don't want to say your last name, but like, is it certain, so India has like the caste system, right?
Yeah, it is. So it's I think it's like the farming class, which, pretty much everybody is a farmer, or at least a lot of people are. So
I'm reading this book. It's called Sapiens, and it's all about the history. I know. I learned. My son and I are learning at the same time.
How many years have you been reading it?
Oh my God, I take forever to read this book. I think I've had this book for almost 2 months. I'm like 100 pages in, but it's really good.
I'm not even joking.
I even say a book is really good, and I'm like barely reading it. I'm like reading 2 pages at a time. But the pages I read today, it was it's like a brief history of mankind, and they did a couple pages about like the history of the caste system in India.
It's very interesting, definitely.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting like how it was set up basically. I'm not gonna get too in depth for the show about it.
Yeah, it's funny how like it's true in a lot of countries, like in the old times, like if you were from like a higher caste, they thought so little of the lower caste, and it was like everything was based on it.
Well, they said like it was like the people that came that kind of like forced the start of it. It was like the Aryan Indian like invasion 3,000 years ago. They said that kind of started it, and they kind of to control society. They said anyone, if you marry outside or like interact outside of your class, you're polluting society.
Yeah, exactly.
And it goes against what the gods want and to create order. And then they kind of compared also like every society creates its own order. Like in like the Western society, we think that's insane. But here we're totally fine saying if you're rich, you get all these great things. If you're poor, you get nothing. You don't deserve it. And most people in the rich and the poor are just kind of born into that.
It's not insane because the Western society had the same stuff. It just called it different things.
Exactly.
It was the same stuff.
Yeah, we just call it rich and poor. You call it caste, whatever.
Yeah.
It's the same ideas. It just we think our version makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And we think your version is crazy, and you probably think the same thing because they're all just the same version of the same crap.
I mean, like America was a little different, but all the European countries had the same exact thing, until very recently.
It's all just like made up reasons to like find people like to control and hate people, basically discriminate. And
exactly. And then, religion was part of it too. I mean, like they persecute people based on religion. It wasn't really about the religion. It was about just, demeaning other people.
Yeah. So on a different note, as a doctor, you treat kids ever?
I'm not that kind of doctor.
Okay. I know you do ER. I didn't know if you ever did kids in the ER.
Yeah.
So maybe you can help me
that
out.
Came out wrong.
What did I say?
I don't know if you ever did kids in the ER.
Well, okay, sorry. Doc, I know you did kids.
That was the other person with my last name.
Would you trade? What if you could be the greatest doctor in the world? Like you, like hands down greatest. You'd be recognized for this, but you have an unhealthy desire to be with kids. You don't have to act on it. Would you be okay with that?
No, actually, I don't want to be the best doctor because then like attention is bad.
Work, right?
Yeah, it's like a lot of expectation. If you're the best doctor, it's like...
Okay. What if you're the highest paid doctor? Okay, how about this? You get a super smoking hot wife. You get $1 million a year salary, and all you have to do is try to avoid your unhealthy desire to be with kids.
I still wouldn't do that.
How come every other episode you try and get somebody on the show to talk about wanting to be with kids?
I just think it's just a weird thing that like some people have like, and it's not like there's no choice in the matter. There's no one's choosing to go like, I want to be with a 5-year-old. It's just like this brain mutation where they like that. It's a bizarre thing that like.
And I feel like it's much more common than we probably like realize because like. We just know about the people that have gotten caught.
Yeah, like, I think Louis C.K. made a whole joke on SNL we got ripped on for saying like how awesome it must be to like look at pictures because they're willing to risk going to jail to look at these pictures. I
mean, I just saw this thing about the dad on Seventh Heaven was one of these people. And
yeah.
I'm like, holy shit! Like,
he's like the closest I get was playing a priest on TV. It's good enough for me. I'm gonna. Yeah, no, it's got to be like really much more. It's something where also like these people obviously need real help. I put him in jail. Like I need some way to treat them. I don't even know.
I mean, I saw the interview with that guy, and I mean, it seemed like he was holding back. Like it was like I did this one thing and then this other thing, but I'm like, that's crazy though. Like
there was a NPR had this podcast, and when they I forget which one it was called, but a Radio Lab. They did a show about this guy who he had seizures. He had seizures, and he had some operation on his brain. And as a result of the operation of the brain, he basically would go at night and just start downloading child porn, and then and bestiality and everything. And eventually, he was arrested. And he said prior to having the surgery, he never had any desire to do this, but at night he would now just like he couldn't control himself anymore.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I don't know. That could or could not be like the real reason, but
the judge basically said like because they held him like they found him guilty, but not as like I guess they found some validity to his argument. But
the thing is, if it's actually true that that's what caused it, then it'd be interesting because then they could maybe figure out like what part of the brain, causes this kind of thing. But I don't know. Sometimes that could just be an excuse too. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, so now let's move away from the. I didn't even really want to go there. Actually, I had something funny to say, but I was. So my kids, they're boy girl, but they're still very young. So they take baths together, and so I was with them just now at the bath, and I asked my daughter, "What are you doing?" And she goes, I'm touching my penis." And I was like, "That's not your penis." Yeah. And I realized up to this point, she's 4 years old. We've yet to give her name for what she has. Like the boy, I'm like, your wee, your penis. Right. But your girl, we don't give her a name.
Yeah, you don't do that. I guess.
What do you, Doc? What do you recommend we call it?
I'm not a child psychologist.
Tell me. What would you recommend?
I have no idea. I don't know what do people normally do? I have no idea.
I don't I think what they call it your privates, but that really seems also it's kind of a weird thing to do. Like boys were okay to name it, but girls there's some kind of like.
I mean, this gets into the whole gender identity thing. It's like like boys, I feel like have like like they can identify like what they're supposed to have and stuff, whereas girls are like just not supposed to talk about it.
Yeah, and I'm like my girl now. I'm like my daughter's being messed up because she thinks she has a penis because she said no. She understands her brother has a penis that's different, but she thinks hers is called a penis too. And I was like, well, you don't have a penis.
Yeah, you got to correct that before she starts telling other people.
I'm like, Zach has a penis. She's like, no, I have a penis. I'm like, you do not have a penis. I'm like, mommy does not have a penis. She's like, mommy has a penis. I'm like, mommy does not have a penis.
I mean, I could totally see why like she would do that because it's like she wants, like her brother has something, so why shouldn't she have something?
Oh, everything. Yeah, my wife came home and I was like, honey, what do you have? And she was like, "What?" I'm like, "Well, your daughter thinks she has a penis, so can you tell us what we're calling it? I'll let you name it." And so she was like, "Vagina." I'm like,
name it Susan.
Yeah. She's like, "Well, use the proper term vagina because that's what we're gonna use." Like, so we're like, "You have a vagina," and then later on, where I'm putting my son to bed, I hear in the other room her screaming, "Mommy, you have a penis!" Mommy's like, I don't have a penis.
She's is she in school yet, or is she?
She's in like pre.
As soon as she goes to school, she's gonna just yell it out.
Oh yeah.
Whatever you tell her.
She's in like a threes program, like nursery school, basically. Yeah, basically, whatever. Like they can tell each other.
maybe you can make the preschool teacher tell her what it is. Like they probably have to deal with this all the time.
I'm sure. I mean, the kids don't know what they're. The other day, my son grabbed my wife. Goes, "Mommy, I touched your boob." My wife was like, "Oh, just stop doing that." Because kids don't know any better.
Do you think these like preschool teachers are like they have to deal with this all the time? They must like know exactly how to deal with this. I don't know.
They must deal. They probably also just distract from it. Like
yeah,
it
doesn't sound easy, but I feel like they must have to like figure out what to do when kids do that.
Maybe a month ago, my kids were driving in the car, and my wife wasn't with me. It was just me and the kids, and they asked me where babies came from, and I just changed the subject. That's
what pretty much all parents do until like they finally have to say something.
My son was convinced that you didn't have a choice when you have a baby. Babies just happen, right. And I was like, I should correct this, but I just don't want to. I'm like, my wife has to be here to help me with this.
I'm just like, I sort of remember like all the theories I had before I like when I was younger.
Share us with us. So what did little Doc think?
I think I remember thinking they just appeared too. Like I just thought they.
Yeah, that's not crazy. Like.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really think about it, but I was like, and like I was like 7 or 8 when my brother got born. My mom got pregnant.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wasn't that young, but, I'm like, oh, my mom, has I didn't even,
Yeah, no, I mean, that, like, basically came up because, like, their cousins, like, my sister-in-law is pregnant, and they were asking, like, we were talking about someone else didn't have a baby. And I was like, well, we don't know if they're going to have a baby. And my son's like, well, you don't decide. It just happens. And then my daughter's like, oh, Dad, where do babies come from? I'm like, is this Bob Seger on the radio? Guys, sing along.
Yeah. I just wonder kids these days, like with the internet and everything. I mean, they probably figure it out like a lot younger than when we figured it out. Like,
I mean, I hope they're not figuring it out online yet, but
No, not yet. But I'm just saying, like, it's definitely not going to take as long as it did before because I just feel like you can't. I mean,
it's also the lowest common denominator. Once one kid finds out, he tells everyone else.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like as soon as they go to school, like the clock is ticking. Like they're going to figure it out like pretty fast.
I don't know if you were in my class, but it was really young, like 3rd or 4th grade. They showed us a video of a childbirth, and like I didn't even know what
3rd or 4th grade.
Yeah, I didn't.
I think that was part of the curriculum. Yeah,
I didn't even know what a vagina was. So I'm seeing a vagina for the first time, and then I'm seeing a kid come out of a vagina.
That was like the grossest thing ever. By the way,
I remember they're like, any questions? And I immediately raised my hand and I'm like, is there any other way to have a kid? Because I never want to have sex. Cause like,
also, like, that doesn't explain anything. Like, having a baby is not the same as, like, making a baby.
No, all it is making
thank you, Doc.
Like, yeah, all it made me think is that vaginas are these gross things that, like, bloody, screaming babies.
Yeah, I mean, kids, like that's not going to help them. And it's
is
like...
Was that part of the abstinence program at your school? This is what childbirth
probably,
looks like.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they did it.
I have to say, like, before my first child was born, we went to some class and they showed us a video of, like, a child being born. I was so horrified, and I wasn't in 3rd grade.
Yeah, I was traumatized for a while.
I was traumatized from my med school rotation in OB. Like, it was my first rotation, and I'm like, this is the worst thing ever. It's the worst thing ever. I did it at like a county hospital. I think it's the county that Marc lives in right now, and that was like the worst thing. I'm like, it's.
Can we move on? Oh my god, I can't even take this conversation. Sorry.
I didn't even describe it. I was just.
But I've had 2 kids born. And I one time like I just don't want to. You don't want to be like remember that like the least thing you ever want. You want to remember your birth of your child, except for when your actual moment your child.
Oh, that's right. We never had Alex on, so you can give him an intervention and tell him not to look.
Oh yeah, his friend wanted to look, and I was going to tell him the worst thing you could ever do with your life is look, and don't look unless you're actually the doctor delivering it. Unless you're like it's part of the baby survival. You looking.
Yeah, no, like as med students, like I knew I didn't want to do that, but you have to get a certain amount of experience. But after like a few times, I was like, okay, do I really need to do this again? Because I know I'm not doing this for like my career. So. Yeah.
Oh my god. How many do you have to do? Like if you're on a rotation, like
the OB part was like 2 weeks, and like. In the first few days, I took part in a lot of them, and then I was like, okay, I tried to like escape because there was like other stuff you could do to like, help out. So you didn't have to
Do they lecture you after the first time, going like, when the mom is listening, don't say the word gross very loud?
The doctors, the training doctors are like, they're always in a cranky mood. They're not very nice, most of them. So they don't even mind. You know, if you're not there or you're there, they don't really care too much. At least where I was.
So a different note I wanted to share with you guys. Unless you guys had something you want to talk any more about this, or can we move?
No, we can. Let's move on.
So I woke up. This is all from our new bit, or our recurring bit. Marc tells stories of problems with his servants.
His servants.
So I woke up on Monday, and you know when you're like, so I felt like I had a cold coming on, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I had a cold coming on, but like you wake up like you feel so shitty that you start Googling like which drugs I can mix together to make myself survive this day. Yeah. I'm like, can I mix like Sudafed with Mucinex? Can I, Doc?
So cold medicines are like kind of pointless, most of them. Like Sudafed is like, it's basically amphetamine in a box, and it's like, it makes you feel good for like a couple hours and then wears off and you feel twice as bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, why does it make you feel twice as bad?
Because there's like rebound. It's like doing speed.
All it does is hold the symptoms at bay. It doesn't make it better.
Yeah, and so amphetamines, they vasoconstrict in your nose, so similar like cocaine and stuff. It relieves like nasal congestion and stuff, but once it wears off, you actually get even worse nasal congestion.
Oh.
And then like great. If you're trying to sleep, it's bad too, because obviously it keeps you out.
So I should not be taking that when I get sick then.
Yeah, it's all that stuff is like marketing, like, all those cold meds. I mean, if you're like trying to work and it's just trying to get you through the day, it's all right. But
if I wanted to develop a small addiction to like a small drug habit, would I just take Sudafed every day? Could that get me to a minor, like, I don't want to be like the hillbilly Billy.
Yeah.
I just want to have a minor.
I guess you could get it. It's not as strong as, like speed, like crystal meth and stuff.
I would.
But it's the same, it's in the same class of medication,
Is
drugs.
it like, isn't that what they use to make like is that
yeah,
part
you can use it. Yeah, that's why they have they check your license when you buy it and stuff.
So you're saying basically it's bad to take that every day.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, so what would you take if you have like a bad cold?
I mean, I think like antihistamines are all right. They might help a little bit with the, like the watery eyes and all that stuff.
So
antihistamines are like Benadryl and that kind of stuff.
Okay. So anyway, I took all the wrong stuff because I was marketed to. I'm at work. I'm feeling like absolute death. All I want to do is like I call my wife. Can you pick me up from the train on your way home? All I want to do is like take a NyQuil, and like
you can just take like the Advil, like the anti-inflammatory one, and just don't take the combination ones. Just take like Advil. Just that'll help with the swelling and headaches and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because I think the combination, they put so much stuff in it, you don't need all the stuff that's in there.
So I should just take Advil, basically.
Yeah, I think that's what I usually do when I get sick.
I'm going to go with you on this one, since you might actually be trained to know what you're talking about. So anyway, I was feeling like shit. Wanted to just like get in the car and just like just get home, basically drop dead. Basically, I was just so tired, and so I don't. Doc, have you been listening lately to my tales of what's been going on with my nanny?
Yeah, I've listened to some of your I think I heard about some of this.
So we've had some like over the time with my nanny. We had so there was at first there was a weird letter we got involving her having being satanic, worshiping Satan.
Oh, from like her ex-boyfriend or husband or something.
Something like that, and involved ghosts. Then more recently, she had a extreme freak out over a letter where my wife wrote the word like whatever in the letter.
Oh yeah, I did hear that story. That's right.
Extreme freak out, and we were kind of like, what the fuck at that point. And then like more recently, she had something very recently where like her son had to go to the emergency room. He was fine, but my in-laws came to relieve them. Relief basically kind of like we were all at work and they came to like relieve her so she can go be with her son. And when they got there, my father-in-law says like, "Oh, go," and he's hard of hearing. And she said to like my mother-in-law, "Tell him not to shout at me." Like to snap it.
And she's a little too sensitive.
Yeah. So like,
how old is her son? Like young or?
Her son's like 10. And so like she's been snapping at people, and so my wife and I were like, if she does anything else, like she's got to go.
Yeah, that's.
So I get in the car, and my wife's like, so my son had a play date that day, and she was supposed to bring the kids back. Like what they're like, it's like a block over from us, so walk all the kids back and drop them off. She dropped the kid off, and while doing so, made the kid cry and his cancer-stricken grandmother cry as well. Basically, like snapped at them, saying how he was not behaved. I don't know what exactly was said, but the mom texted Liz, my wife, and just saying she basically snapped at my stage 2 cancer grandmother, just going off on basically how the son does not behave, and she was deeply offended.
Yeah, that's.
And she was, and so we were like, so what do you do at that point?
I mean, I think this doesn't sound like this should keep going.
It sounds like she's a little unstable.
Yeah,
I
think you have to end this.
And so my wife's been talking about there's that. Jay, have you guys heard about the nanny who killed the kids in the city? Do you guys know that story?
No.
Do you guys not? Have you guys not? Maybe
I've heard. Yeah, I've heard of that.
If you're not as a parent, you may not have been basically there's a nanny in the city. Everything's normal, and then one day the nanny basically just takes 2 of the kids and murders them. Whoa. And apparently then there's a trial going on with the nanny right now, and she just basically had snapped. And I guess she was becoming increasingly more depressed, and she was coming in more and more issues. And I guess the things that I guess the parents had ignored or not realizing all these problems were going on. And I guess the thing when the police got there, basically to arrest her because they came up and found that this happened. Mm-hmm. One of the things she cited was they had the mom had asked her now that the kids were in school and stuff like that, could you do more housework?
Oh my God!
I literally was going to ask our nanny because she has a bunch of hours free because her kids are at school.
Yeah.
If she could do more if she wants to we can get rid of our we have a clean was it maid whatever not maid a house cleaner comes once a week, and I was gonna say, do you want to do that? You can earn that money instead. And apparently this offended her to the point where it put her over the edge to kill the kid. So I'm glad I didn't ask.
So I mean, when you look backwards at that kind of stuff, it's but you can't blame something like that. It's just she was just in that state to take offense to that. So
right, I don't think the mom or dad is at fault for the.
No. But it just but I mean, just this happens a lot. They look backwards and they're like, why didn't someone do this or do that or do this? And it's if you look backwards at everything, everything looks like you did it wrong, but.
So her nanny also has been she's beginning her husband left her, but after when she started with us, she was happy and stuff. Then her husband left her. She's getting increasingly more depressed.
I don't think the chance that she's gonna go that crazy where she does something really harmful is probably low. But it's just not good for your kids to be around someone like that.
No,
regardless of the action. Obviously it's scary if she would do something, but that's probably not gonna happen. But her getting everyone upset, your kids, that's not good for your kids,
Yeah, I mean, and she seems noticeably depressed. She's gained a lot of weight since she's worked with us, and she's been snapping at everyone. What would you do at this point? You get in the car.
I don't know how I would fire her, but I think she needs to be
I think.
I know you guys have to get another nanny.
Start interviewing new nannies.
Okay, so we fired her. We were I got in the car and I was just okay, I was like, it's one of those things where you're like, shit, I gotta
No, you have to do it.
Fucking have to bite the bullet. There's no way I can get around this. If we don't do this, then I am complete. My wife will fucking kill me. Yeah. And if at this point she's snapping at everyone, you gotta kind of just
That's gotta be so hard to do, though.
It's hard.
Have you ever fired someone? It's fucking horrible.
I know. I've never had to do that.
It's because the person she has a kid to support, and she needs the job. No matter what, she still seems to want the job. We get home, everything's normal. She's just sitting there with the kids on the couch, and we're okay, time to fire her. We sent her kids upstairs. I had to bribe my daughter by hey, you get a chocolate chip if you go upstairs for a little while. And then we told her, and she was like, no, I didn't snap at them. I don't know what you're talking about. I would never snap at anyone. And we're well, it's been happening a lot, and you seem really depressed, and you feel really unhappy in the job. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm not unhappy. I'm very happy. I thought we talked about things the other day with the note, and I've been expressing myself more. And we're expressing yourself more? We thought that was a psychotic incident when you were with the note. This was putting us. It was.
I mean, she had no reason to express herself to the grandmother, who, the other person. Like, that was just an outburst. It was.
Yeah. I mean, people aren't like just randomly interpreting your like, if it was one incident, we'd say like, maybe
if it was just with you guys, that's different. But it's with other people and your kids.
Yeah, or if it's the first time anything's ever happened, we'd be like, oh, maybe she just needs to apologize. Maybe things were taken the wrong way. Who knows? But it's like incident after incident. I know a lot of people with young kids, and I just know it's tough to have a good nanny and keep a good nanny, and they're hard to find, and good ones are pretty expensive. Yeah, so now we're like, basically, she's like, did you have this planned? And we're like, have this planned? We're like desperate to find someone new right now. We want you out of our house, actually. There's nothing planned about firing you on a Monday night.
Yeah, we don't want to, like, you really, truly don't want to fire your nanny, but it's like,
wait, you don't have anybody lined up?
We have no one. Like, we were trying to find someone now.
Why would you do that? You start interviewing first.
Because we thought, like, she crossed the line of insanity. Like that, like it just got to the point where like my wife was not going to.
No, that's a tough one. I mean, you could wait a little, but it's like, you're taking
I guess it would be weird if she was normal for like a full week, and then you're like, remember that thing from last week? Now you're fired.
So the boy, so my son was playing with the boy, the grandmother, the boy that was my son was having a play date with, that they had walked back to. His dad's co-worker was the dad of where the nanny killed the kid.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I was like, oh my God, that's too much of a coincidence not to take an action right now. That
happened in where you, like, around where you live?
No, he worked for I guess the guy worked for NBC. Like, this is not the news. Okay. And so the dad worked for NBC at the time also, and he worked there when that happened.
This is like 6 degrees of murderous nanny.
Yeah, like I'm like, this is too freaking crazy, and we're like all these things coming together. You're like, these are just too many things to go. Like, I'm just gonna overlook this now. Like, so now we have no nanny. Now we've been trying to figure shit out the rest of the whole week. Like, my in-laws are helping.
I could see why you did it. I mean, it's like, it's your kids, and the other thing is, like, your kids get attached to this person, so it's like you have to do it before.
My kids are attached. My son was real upset. Like, and that were like. My son's we're trying to get my son talking about, like, we didn't tell him, like, we just told him that she's decided to leave to spend more time with her son, to stay home with us. Like, you don't want to say, like, we fired her because we thought she was a danger to your life. Right. You want to go with something better than that. So we basically just said, like, she wants, like,
when she was taking care of your kids, who was taking care of her son? Like, was he just alone?
I think it's her mom or something. Like, she had care lined up. She had something lined up for him. So, like, I mean, you have to earn money, so you figure out a way to make things work. But it was, and now we like little things. My son, like, he's like talking about, like, through the years we've had a number of nannies. We had, like, one that we first hired who broke her foot within the first few weeks, and then we had someone else for 4 years we loved, and then we moved to the city. We had someone who we hated, and then someone else for like a week who didn't show up for 3 of the days, and then this one. And my son's like, this will be my 6th nanny. I'm like, yep, this will be your 6th nanny.
You're not like, I've had friends who've had similar situations. There's a lot of turnover.
And my son's like, Dad, have all my nannies been brown? Yeah, I guess they've all been brown, son. I don't
that's what most of them are.
And he's talking about, like, what he like. I'm like, he's like so and so and so. They were both really nice, and they were brown. I hope my new nanny is nice and brown also.
God.
Like, oh my God, what's I gonna say?
You know he's gonna say that to the new nanny on, like, the first day.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're nice and brown. I mean, he's also saying things like, I hope she makes me dinner. I'm like, well, whoever hires will make you dinner, okay?
Yeah.
And we now we're trying, like, we're calling, like, there are agencies, they're like pet hunters for, like, nannies. Yeah. And so my wife called us one, and the woman's like, oh, I have someone perfect for you. She works in Syosset, which is a little bit out from here, and she wants to work a little bit closer to the city. I think she would be interested in working in your town. I'd recommend her. And she says her name, and my wife goes, that's my sister's nanny. And she's like, great, now I found out my sister's nanny wants to leave her job.
God.
She's like, what the fuck? She had to, like, tell her, she had to tell her sister that, like, I'm not sure if your nanny wants to stay in her job anymore. So you might need to find a new nanny also, because you wait till we find a nanny before you find a new nanny.
Also, I might get your old nanny.
Oh my God, no, her nanny's not good anyway, so we don't really want her.
Yeah,
but,
no, just kidding. You probably couldn't do that anyway because it'd be like awkward.
You know what we had? So we had someone else come, like this woman come to interview, and it's been hard to find even people to interview.
Yeah.
And she seemed like fine. She was okay, and like my son's excited as possible because now he's like into the idea of having a new nanny, and my daughter's scared. She's very shy anyway. But at the end of the whole conversation, my wife had told her at the beginning, like, this is what we're gonna before on the phone. This is what we pay. Woman's like, totally fine. We gets here, and my wife like, okay, so this is what we pay, and she's like, the number she names is $400 more a week than what we had said, and we're like, well, we said this on the phone. She's like, well, I can't do it under this. We're like, well, okay, well,
why are you here?
Why are you here? I'm like, we just can't afford that. I'm sorry, you gotta go. I'm like, either your English is not good enough to understand that, and then we just don't want to hire you anyway, or I don't know what you're doing.
Jesus, 400 more a week?
We already pay a lot of fucking money. And
yeah, I was thinking like 400 a week.
Yeah. That's still a lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
It's more than $400 a week, Jay, and then she wanted $400 on top of that. Jay, you want to be our nanny? You could probably actually I was thinking about it, Jay. If you want to quit your job and be our nanny, we have our kids are in school for a part of the day. You could spend 3 or 4 hours a day studying for the CPA.
I mean, it sounds like your nanny makes more than I make. So.
If you don't mind for the she has to go on some errands for us and do shopping. If you could just do some grocery shopping for us, you probably could have a couple hours of free to study every day.
If Jay becomes a nanny, can we have a show called Jay the Nanny? We just.
I bet you'd like it better than your current job, Jay.
I guarantee I would like it better than my current job.
Oh yeah, you could do two. You could do 2 things. You could be a nanny, and you could film it like a video blog, and then call it Jay the Nanny, and that would also make you money.
My kids are very cute for your show.
Today they announced that evil manager that's driving everybody crazy just got a promotion.
Yeah, of course.
Isn't that good for you though? Because you don't report to her anymore.
Oh, I still do, and now she's probably going to be even more power hungry and egotistical. So
wait, but if she's promoted, what's her role? What's her position title? Is there a title? Isn't there someone that has to take her role that you now are going to report to?
No, just went from manager to senior manager. So basically, it's just more money and doing the same thing.
I'm even more evil.
Yeah.
Jay, could you get on your knees when you talk to me from now on? You have to grovel more, Jay. I have a new title. I'm senior manager, Jay. That's awesome for you. Well, do you want to be senior nanny?
Ooh.
Can you senior nanny?
Senior nanny, huh?
Yeah. Can you? So you have to take kids on play dates, take kids from activities. Can you drive a car, Jay?
I can.
Can you get here at 8 in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Okay. If you get here at 8 in the morning, you can take kids to play dates. If you can make friends with other nannies and be friends with them on play dates.
This actually sounds like a lot of fun.
It's actually a pretty fucking easy job. Can you make chicken? Can you make chicken strips for my kids for dinner and pasta? Can you make sure they eat their vegetable, which is they do anyway, and play with them? Can you do some arts and craft with kids?
This really sounds like I missed my calling in life.
It's a fucking easy job. Especially at this point,
you could also get some video editing done while you're working.
If your kids are 1 or 2 years old, it's a lot of work. I mean, nothing's easy with it. It's not the easiest job in the world. But if your kids are 1 or 2 years old, there's a lot of work. My kids are 6 and 4. They don't It's not like you have to change a diaper anymore.
Yeah, it gets easier.
The worst, my son just does everything and wipes himself. The worst is that you have to wipe my daughter, which I don't know if I really want you wiping my daughter, Jay. But you have to bathe them. There's nothing they just like to play. If you could just play, you could play Uno with them, and that could be your day. And they're in school for part of the day. If you decide to quit your job prior to us finding someone new, Jay, you could help us out. We'll pay you the same way we pay good.
I may be submitting my application.
Marc goes over his video editing experience. What makes you qualified to take care of my kids?
I just bring in my reel. I bring in my editing reel.
Jay, I don't know why you submitted for your work episode of Break Saturday that I'm on.
I don't know how I'll take care of your kids, but there'll be a good video of them growing up.
Jay, no podcasting while the kids are at home. While they're at school, you can do all the podcasting you want.
All of a sudden, we have 3 episodes of Brink a day.
You would really probably nail the CPA. If you could explain this on your resume, you'd probably nail the CPA while you're doing it because you'd have plenty of time to study for it.
Of course, I would explain it on my resume.
Explain like
take time off to take the CPA. That's a totally acceptable reason.
Big world corporation, nanny. Now I want to be an accountant. What's the problem?
Also, you could just post all the stupid shit Marc's kid says, like as a podcast, and I think people would love it.
When the kids are in camp, they're in camp from they get on the bus at 8:20 and they get home at 4:45. We pay the nanny full time for that. So
that's crazy.
We're morons.
Jay, you can get a lot of comics read.
Yes,
you could have. I mean, you just sit around my house all day. You could probably
read the comics. You can read the comics to Marc's kid.
You could catch up all the TV shows you're supposed to be watching that we keep recommending to you. I come home like Jay's like in his underwear on my couch. I'm like, Jay, not what I meant by being my nanny.
I like forget you even have kids. Like, where are they?
The most complicated thing you have to do is when my wife is like, hey, can you return this to the Gap? Like, just go to the store and return. Like, there's nothing complicated about this job at all.
Wow.
Yeah. So, if you, fans of the show, if you think Jay should become my nanny, let us know. Can you convince my kids that you have brown skin?
Have you seen me? I am so goddamn pale.
Dad, this nanny is too white.
I just show up to your first day at the job with blackface on.
we have a 26-year-old coming to interview on Saturday. I'm thinking maybe like, and she's apparently so she's studying to be a nurse online. Doc, can you study to be a nurse online?
I think you do part of it online. I think eventually you have to show up somewhere.
Yeah, that's what my theory was, that like the science class and stuff like that you could probably do online.
Yeah, I think you can do the first like couple of years online.
I imagine you can't do everything online, but like we were thinking that like if she wants to do that and that could work with being this job.
Yeah, honestly, like doing it online is probably just as, because when I was in med school, going to lectures didn't really help. I would just study the stuff. That was like really how you learn stuff. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Just about the tests.
Jay, did your girlfriend study it online or go to an actual school?
She went to an actual school.
Okay, cool. Not that online is not an actual school for all those out there that are online schooled.
Yeah, I think even the online schools, like they have practical parts that you have to like go somewhere for. So
I figured they had that practical parts, but I'm like, maybe a 26-year-old will be good. Maybe that'll be responsible. I don't really know. We're absolutely like, it's. You have certain things in your life that like you need these things just to be stable so you don't lose your mind. And like our childcare for our kid needs to be stable. Yeah. And so I've just been out of my mind, stressed basically this whole week, losing my mind basically over like trying to find like, and so we fire her on Monday. I get a text from her on Tuesday saying, could we serve as a reference? Would you serve as a reference for the person you just fired?
That's a tough one.
The thing is, it's hard for her to find a job if she doesn't have a reference. So
yeah, and you kind of do want her to find a job. It's like you want, like, first of all, you don't want someone that you fired because you're worried that she's mentally unstable, having the only thing in her life the anger at you. You want her to be able to move on with her life, right?
Yeah.
I have this a lot at work. Like I have med students that come through and like I see them for 2 minutes and they're like, "Oh, can you write me a letter of recommendation?" I'm like, I work with you for like 2 minutes. Like, what do you want me to write in the letter?
Do you do it?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm like, listen, we didn't work together long enough. Like, I don't know what I would write in the letter.
Oh, okay. It'd be great.
It depends. Sometimes I ask the other residents, like, is this person good? Like, should I recommend them? It's annoying though, because it's like, a lot of people, like, there's a lot of students there, and they all like need letters, and they don't have anyone else to ask.
Do you make them like write a letter and you just sign it, or do you?
I do that. Sometimes I do that. Like, there's this one resident who already like matched to a program. He just needs letters like to be submitted so that just meets his requirements. So I'm like, Can you just write part of it and then I'll add stuff? And because it's hard. Like, I'm just trying to come up with like things to say. Even like he's a good resident. Like, I want to write good things, but I don't want it to like sound like bad, But
yeah, he is good. He make good doctors.
Yeah, he does job well. He's one of these people. He does what he's supposed to. He's very easy to work with, but like, there's nothing to like really describe him, like, and he's gonna do like physical medicine and rehab, which is like, like, I don't know. The personality doesn't really matter for that. So.
Well, you're a very intelligent person, but you're not a goddamn poet. You're not like, you're just like I don't know. He's very good.
I think like
I
when
like
I was
him.
in college, I would have been really good at this, like because we used to write all the time. But now it's like, you know.
You also like, what the fuck do I write? Like, it's these letters of recommendations is the dumbest thing because everyone is struggling to get like some bullshit thing written.
Yeah.
And how much does it really even
I
goddamn
think
matter?
we need to revamp the whole letter of recommendation thing for like, especially for med school and stuff like that, because it's like it's really hard to find 3 people to write letters for you. Maybe just one like good letter or something. I don't know.
That would be at least a little better, like one good letter. Yeah, all those like, well, the 5 minutes I spent with him were outstanding. I know he'll serve the medical community very well.
Yeah. And then like, you know, we have residents that rotate through that are like, a lot of them are really good. And, you know, I write, like they need evaluations every time I work with them. So it's like, you know, I try to write really good things. And then the next time I get it, I'm like, oh, see the last one, all the good things from the last one. And then maybe one other good, like.
Well, you have to keep writing evaluations?
Yeah. Like every time they rotate, like they submit an evaluation. I mean, most of it's just grading them, but then like their comments at the end that like you should really write a few comments. It's like a lot of work. And it's like, I should just be able to say like, okay, this person is good. You know, I recommend him or not recommend him.
I guess like the people that are. What if the people that? So I'm sure you work with people who are really good, but I'm sure there's some residents that are.
Yeah,
shit.
no, it's hard because it's like, you know, they give us these scales and then they don't even tell us what passing and failing is. So you're like, okay, what should I give this person? I don't think he's great, but I don't, you know, like I don't want to fail him. And then, you know, if you do want to fail someone, I don't even know what number to pick to, you know, it's not very clear.
Have you been with someone? Have you had someone that you wanted to fail?
Yeah, it's sporadically. It doesn't happen that often, but
it's like what about them? Just think they're just not good at the whole.
They're just like it's like listen, come here. Do you want to do this? Because you look like you don't want to do this. Like it's like they just kind of like don't look like they're enjoying. You know, like not that like you would enjoy all parts of the job, but like, you know, no enthusiasm, like not even trying, like you have to tell them how to do like every little thing. It's just, you know, it's just attitude and stuff. When someone looks like they don't really want to do the job that they're training for.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. You would think like in that space, like people would be trying to, but I guess
most of them do. I mean, this is like pretty rare, but you know, when you get someone like that, you don't know what to do with that.
Because to get that level, you've had to gone through such intense schooling and do so well to get there. And you're like, but I mean, people do that and just.
There's issues like there's some people that have like really bad ADD and they're smart, but they like have issues with like focusing, and which is weird. Like a doctor, you wouldn't think, but it's actually fairly common among doctors to have that.
No.
You know, it's like I think mild ADD you can like deal with, but some people have it more serious than others, and it's like, you know, I'm like, okay, I don't know if you can handle being a doctor.
So as far as the reference, I said to my wife, I'm like, well, let's do this because if we'll give her a reference, and that way if she applies with a family in the town, we could tell them she's shit, so she doesn't actually work in our town, so our kids don't encounter her again. Because we just don't want like the kids to see and be like, well, you said she was not like what happened. Like you don't want your kids are like attached to her, and you don't want them to be like think she like there's some reason she wasn't here besides. Right. Yeah, so I was like, sure, like I'll and whatever. You also just wanted to find a job, so I said yes. And later that day, someone contacts me and says, so and so gave me as a reference. Can I speak to you about her? And I'm like, we fired her fucking yesterday, and she already has a job interview. We don't have an interview for something. We don't have an interview to replace her yet, and she already has an interview. How's that fucking possible?
It's, you know, the demand for nannies is super high because I know from where I work, like my coworkers who have babies, they have a lot of trouble finding someone. One of the doctors I work with, his mother-in-law does nannying, and like, you know, every time someone has a baby, like she gets another job offer. It's like,
well, if you know any nannies, really let me know.
I mean, this is like, yeah, they're in the east end of Long Island, so that wouldn't work. But
that's a little far out there, yeah. So I was like, okay, and my wife's like, I'm like, do you want to talk to this woman? I'm like, my wife's like, I don't know. I'm like, what are we gonna say? Because we like just fired her yesterday. We wanted to find a job. I texted the one back to like, are you in Port Washington? And she's like, no, I'm in Manhasset. And I was like, okay, I'll talk to you. And I'll give her. We're like, what are we gonna say? And so I think we agreed on saying that. What did we agree on? We agreed on saying that like, oh, the job, because the kids were in school, became more and more about a lot of doing errands. She was unhappy with that, and that's why we parted company. So we had like a good reason to tell her and whatever. So I get on the phone with this woman, and the first thing she says to me is, "So and so said she was fired from the job. What? And she so what happened? Why'd you fire her?"
Yeah,
and I was
that's
like,
tough.
I was like, "Oh, I thought she would like lie better or come up with something else." I'm like, so what did she say? And the woman said, what she said to me was that your wife kept leaving her ruder and ruder notes, and she eventually she spoke up for herself. You guys got upset and fired her for that. And the woman's like, I've had issues with nannies before, so I'm assuming that whatever she said is probably not the truth. So I was hoping you could help me out with this.
You got to tell her the truth then. I think.
Oh, well, I was so thrown off, and I was like, what the fuck? She's like going to insult my wife to this other woman? Like, fuck her.
Yeah.
So we were like, I tried to keep it still like very like not too bad, but I was like, I was just like, shit lashed out. Some
We were
worried
about the safety of our children.
This woman told me that apparently she's had some issues with nannies. She once had a nanny where she thought was crazy.
Yeah.
She fired the person. The woman had used her as a reference. She talked to the family. The family asked her, "Did you feel comfortable with your kids with her? Did you feel your kids were safe?" She said no, and the family still hired her.
I would just be honest. Honestly, like, it's up to her to make the decision and just describe what happened. And
I was like, listen, like, she'll show up on time. She's like, do you guys have someone else now? I'm like, no, we're desperate to find someone. She's like, you fired someone, you're desperate to find someone? Yes. She's like, that speaks a lot.
But you have to be honest because, God forbid, like something happens with the next family's kids, like you'd feel so responsible for it,
My boss who loves this, like she's just not like that, like this happened. She loves like this drama. She's hearing about it. She's like, yeah, Mark, someone in the family is going to get hired and she's going to kill those kids and you're going to be responsible for giving the good reference, Mark. You know that. I was like, thanks for putting it
it's a problem in like we live in pretty expensive places, place in the country, relative speaking. So everyone's cost of living is really high. So to hire like a nanny or anybody for anything, like you got to compete with like what people have to pay for, their expenses. So like to find someone relatively cheap is so hard.
But she sounds like she sucks at interviews. Like, you don't go into an interview and like just start bashing the last job. Like when I go on interviews, I'm not going to talk about how much I hate my job.
Because that's easy to see through. Like as the interviewer, you'd be like, okay, it's probably not all like the other person. It's probably partly your fault.
Yeah. Well, I just want to make clear, we didn't also like I don't think I didn't say how much we were paying her. We paid her a pretty decent amount. I think for what she was doing, she got a good salary. I think we were pretty generous. So it wasn't like what the other one was asking for $400 more, and that was absurd. Yeah. But and the woman on the phone goes, she's asking more about it. She's like, well, would you describe her as like energetic and fun loving? Well, I wouldn't use any of those actual words, but she'll show up on time, and if that's what you're looking for. So this is where we are right now. It's just like trying to find. So this is and that was another edition of Mark's trouble with his servants.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a pretty common problem. I mean, like I have lots of friends in that similar situation. A lot of it's like word of mouth. I mean, if you know someone, that's like the best way to get a decent person, but otherwise it's really hard.
It's really hard. Yeah, we're like asking lots of people like could you ask your nanny if they know someone and blah blah blah.
The one thing you could hope for is if like someone has like slightly older kids and they're like kind of done with needing a nanny, like that's the best situation.
Well, you know what? That's what we got the first one we've moved here. That's what we got was someone they were done with the nanny for whatever reason, and they moved, and we got her, and so we hired her. Basically, a lot going on that, but it was like my mother-in-law's coworkers' grandchildren kind of thing, and that woman we freaking hated. So and she was also late all the time, so it was like drove us crazy because we had to catch a train and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We had one nanny when we first started. It was like 4 years. It was amazing. And now we can't find anyone as good. And that one can't drive, so we couldn't bring her out to Long Island.
So I know we're like supposed to want to have kids, but this all doesn't make me feel like I want to have kids.
Both of you do not have kids. Do you guys want to have kids?
I really don't.
I do.
Like, I mean, like I think like I know I'm older, so like we we're the same age, but like we should want to have kids at this point. But I don't know. It doesn't sound fun.
First off, like, so Jay was talking about, like, he's got the anxiety stuff. I mean, last episode was insanely depressing, right, Jay?
Yeah.
And your doctor said to you, like, you need more things in your life that make you happy?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the Brink show.
So then I destroyed one of the few things that makes me happy. I destroyed it last week.
So kids are an insane amount of work, but my kids make me so happy. Like they just like bring like absolute just joy to me. Like we had something at like the temple on Friday night, last Friday night, and then it was just like they were running around like maniacs during the service thing, and I had to go reel them in. But I'm just watching them and being like, I was just so happy, so happy. And so that kind of thing, like I
think everyone's a little different. Like I think for me, like kids would make me happy to some degree, but I feel like I don't know which one would be more, like the annoying part or the happy part. But
it's like if you don't think you really want to do it, because it is. If you're gonna do it, you have to be really involved, or else why do it? And it is so much work.
It's so funny. One of the girls I work with, she just had a baby, and I went to. I hadn't given her a gift, so I went to the. It was like 3 or 4 weeks after that she had the baby, so I went to give her the gift, and she hadn't slept in a while. She was so tired, and she was. She looked happy, but she gave me the baby. I held it for a while, and then I had just gotten home from work, so I was really tired. I was just dropping it off on the way home, and she was showing me the nursery, which they did a good job with it. And then she's like, "Do you want this kid again?" Because she just wanted me to hold it for another hour because she was so tired.
I mean, when they're
I just want to take a nap.
Oh my God, the sleep deprivation, especially at that age, it's so bad.
I mean, it was really early. I mean, I'm sure it got better at this point. I see, pictures. I think it's getting better, but the first few weeks, I heard it's really bad.
The first 3 months are fucking it could be bad. It could really suck. You definitely don't have a baby for what the first 3 months are like. If the first 3 months were what it was like to have a baby, you just say fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck the human race. Let's do something else.
I held the baby for a minute, and I was like, I'm done with this. I don't want to hold him anymore. It was a cute baby. I mean, the baby was sleeping and then crying, and then I'm like, okay, enough.
Jay, do you think you really want to have kids?
Yeah, we're just one. Singular. Kid.
No, it's one.
Kid. Jay wants kid.
Kid, no. Do you want to be a nanny to 2 kids?
I wanted to say before the show is over, if I suddenly disappear, and you can't reach me, Lane Wallace did it.
I'm sorry?
Lane Wallace. He is the gentleman who was on the InfoWars Facebook page who threatened to murder me. So I just wanted to get his name out there in case I disappear. You should ask him first where I am.
It's going to be annoying when we Google Lane Wallace, and apparently it's a very common name, and we're like, fuck, we can't find him.
Does he know where you live?
I hope not. Well, what I did is he blocked me, but before he did, I was able to go on his page, and I downloaded his picture to my phone, so you can match the face to the murderer.
Sweet.
Yeah.
How did you get the death threat?
There was an article on InfoWars about how Trump is stepping into enemy territory by going into California.
Okay.
Which is just ridiculous to begin with.
That's stupid because he lives in. I mean, he's from New York.
Part of the country that he's president of is enemy territory. Okay.
Yeah.
And also he spent most of his life in New York, and he got 13% of the vote in New York City.
He owns golf courses in California.
Yeah, that's the stupidest shit.
So anyway, this guy posts under it that they should build a wall around that shithole California. And
okay.
And
the shithole that if it was its own country would be the 6th largest economy in the world.
Right. So I responded to him, and
I would love our whole country, our whole map, the United States just becomes wall after wall. All the blue states now have walls around them.
I think California is 30% of our economy.
So I responded to him and I said, I agree, but why do you call your house California? And implying that his house is a shithole.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. We interrupted the joke. Go on.
Yeah. And so he responded, did you learn that in school? Which I guess he's one of those homeschoolers because they indoctrinate you in school. That's another InfoWars conspiracy theory. And I responded, no, I'm homeschooled and I was taught.
Wait, hang on. So on that site, did you learn something in school is supposed to be an insult?
I guess.
Are you sure this wasn't a Russian bot? Because I feel like half these people are just like bots.
Do Russian bots track your profile down and then send you private messages?
Could you imagine, like, you
I
found
don't know.
out
Maybe they do.
Infowars is like there's 1,000 commenters, 990 of them are just Russian bots with like nine assholes and you, or 10 assholes, I guess.
You know, the Russian bots are like actually like they really work on making a profile of like real people and stuff.
Yeah,
it could be a real person, but I don't know.
So anyway, after he wrote that school line, I said, no, I was homeschooled and I was taught that Infowars is real news and that states within our own country are enemies or something like that. And so then he private messages me and he writes, fuck off.
Wait, you could private message on Infowars?
No, this is Facebook. I'm banned from the Infowars.
Wait, how did you, I'm sorry for missing this. How did you're finding people?
Infowars has a Facebook page. So I just comment on...
Oh, it's the Infowars Facebook page.
I comment on the Infowars articles on Facebook.
Hang on. Facebook, which has a lot of things about yourself, you reveal that to psychos on Facebook.
Well, I think I'm going to stop.
Because that's really like, that seems like, I understand when you go on your like, on the Infowars comment section and comment to people and you fight with them, but Facebook, you're really putting shit out there for people who are fucking crazy that you have no reason to try to fight with.
Well, I didn't realize how crazy they were. I thought it was just a stupid guy.
Really? They're posting on Infowars agreeing with people and you didn't realize how crazy they are.
Well, I found out. So
okay.
So he messaged me and he writes, "Fuck off."
He the next thing he does is like sends you a picture of like him holding your dead cat.
So he writes, "Fuck off," and I just write back, "Ha ha 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 ha." I said, "You can dish it out, but you can't take it." And then he wrote like, "Watch your six."
Watch your what?
6. You know, on a clock, 6 is behind you, so watch your back.
Oh.
Is that a term that I've not been privy to?
I've never heard of that either.
Really? You never heard that? I think it's a military term because I went to...
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, because I went to his Facebook page and he was holding a gun in his profile picture.
Wait, hang on. There's a guy on a Facebook page holding a gun. You're like,
you're starting fights with him?
Let me fuck with him.
I didn't look at his profile picture when I was responding. I was just responding to the comment. I didn't like look at his profile.
And also, everyone commenting on Infowars has a picture on Infowars of them holding a gun.
Yeah.
That's like just a prerequisite to comment on Infowars Facebook page. And hang on, why are you even commenting on the Facebook page? Like, it's not enough to fight on the Infowars page. Now you have to be on the Facebook page too.
I'm banned from their website.
Oh, are you really? Can't you just create a new profile?
They banned that.
Honestly, their
website banned every single account that posted an opposing view.
By the way, can I just a totally side note? The Knicks are playing the Sixers. They've been up the entire game, and Hornacek goes, "Let's just play all the veterans. I'm going to go in for the victory." Except for he was Moody, all the starters in the fourth quarter. Sift the young guys, fuck development, and they're getting annihilated in the fourth quarter. The Phillies up by 7 points.
Maybe that's his plan.
What a fucking Hornacek is such a fucking bad coach. He's got to go.
But is he like is hopefully he wants like losing is good.
Yeah, I know, but like you know what the problem is?
He's trying to win.
He's trying to win at the sake of he's like I don't care about development. I want to win here, and you're fucking it up also. Like if you better get the fucking win if you're gonna say fuck development.
I just went on the feed from the game and it says apparently an Eagles chant broke out in Madison Square Garden. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. That means there's more Philly fans in there.
Oh my god. Okay, Jay. So you're on Facebook. The guy is threatened. Go on.
So this guy. You think this guy's gonna come to New York City to do harm to you? Like.
Well, what?
Well, he could probably so, but I just wanted to.
Jay has he has the city he lives, like where he lives on his Facebook page. Not his address, but his general area. I was going to be
more specific about where you live, but I just said New York City. So.
He has his general area on his Facebook page, and he has pictures of him, like all these pictures. The guy can fucking find you, Jay. Plus, you have a podcast where you talk about like everything. Yeah. The guy wants to do any research. You're fucking dead man.
Yeah, but anyway, if he wanted to.
So he wrote Watch Your Six, and I wrote, that sounds like a threat. I'm going to tell the cops. And
you should have wrote 789.
He wrote that was a threat, and you should tell the cops. And then I was like, oh fuck.
You know how many people this guy probably gets into fights with, and he's not going to.
Oh
no, I know. It's just.
Jay, please tell me you told the cops, because I want to hear about that story. The cops laughing at me, being like,
"Yeah, what are the cops
going to do? Stop going on fucking Facebook, asshole!" But he said he's going to kill me. I hope he does. You fucking argue with people on Facebook. Those people should die.
No, I just saved his information in case he comes after me.
You want to say his name?
Wouldn't that be the saddest thing? Like if some guy from the middle of nowhere is like, "I'm gonna find this person I had an argument."
What's his name? What's his name, by the way? Jay?
His name is. I had it up a second ago. His name is Lane Wallace.
It's like great. Like anything you want to plug on the show today? Oh yeah, Lane Wallace is trying to murder me. Okay, anyway.
That sounds like a made-up name. That can't be real.
You should start a band and call it Lane Wallace Wants to Murder Me.
You should be like, "You can't murder me. You're in Russia."
Can we start a podcast called the Lane Wallace Podcast?
I should just name this episode Lane Wallace, Please Don't Murder Me.
People will be really confused with the whole nanny stuff then. I like that name. I like that name for the show. But then it'll be really bad because he's like, well, I was going to let it go, but then I looked on iTunes for my favorite podcast. I always look for my name, and I found your podcast, Jay. That's why I'm in your apartment right now.
He's like, now all I need to do to get his address is buy a shirt.
Yes, you can't find me unless you want to buy a shirt, and then I'll give you my home address, along with a pen.
A pen for a different podcast. Okay. We have an email from Mr. C. Hey guys, really happy you're doing the show again and to revive an old rivalry. Jay is still the star of the show. Now for my question, if you could re-vote in the last election, would you still vote the same way?
Bernie?
Yeah. Bernie. But I guess the election would be Trump, and I'd still vote for. I guess I'd throw my vote to Bernie so we get more write-ins.
You voted for Bernie?
No, I voted for. Well, I had to vote for Hillary because it was Hillary versus Trump.
You didn't have to vote for Hillary. I didn't vote for Hillary.
Oh, well, go fuck yourself. Who'd you vote for?
Jill Stein.
Oh, well, way to solve everything.
Yeah, Jill Stein wasn't the answer. The answer was not Trump.
Hillary was not the answer either.
No, Hillary wasn't.
I'm pretty sure we'd all be better off if Hillary was president right now.
Yeah, we would be.
Really? How's not having nuclear war going? Getting closer. You really think things would be as bad, Jay? You really think things would be as bad if we had Hillary?
It probably wouldn't be as bad, but Hillary sucks.
I'm not saying she doesn't suck. I'm not saying she's a wonderful, she'd be a great president or anything like that. I'm just saying she's light years better than Donald Trump.
Yeah, but
Trump
I'm not
is
voting for who sucks less. Like,
but you see, you have 20/20 hindsight. You see how shitty Trump is, and you're still like, my pride's more important than our country and our existence going forward.
I mean, first of all, like, voting in New York was pointless, so it didn't really matter who you voted for.
Right, that's true too. I mean, I understand that, but like Jay, if you lived in Florida, where the votes actually matter, you'd still say like, I'd vote for Jill Stein over, and I can go back in time and vote in Florida. I still would rather vote for Jill Stein than vote for Hillary.
No, yeah. I would vote for Hillary.
Yeah.
I don't like Hillary, but
if your vote?
Trump is a fucking disaster.
Jay, what if your vote was going to be like they say? You vote for Hillary, she's president. If you vote for Jill Stein, Donald Trump is president. What would you do, Jay? Like your vote, you're the last person to vote.
Like Hillary has problems, but Trump is appointing all these judges that are going to be judges for like 30 years, and like our country's going to be fucked for a while from this.
Yeah, Supreme Court's already fucked for like going forward. We're going to have worse and worse rules because the Supreme Court.
Let's say nothing big happens for the next couple of years. He's still like this. The ramifications of this is going to be like for years and years to come.
And so Jay, you would. So it was your vote deciding everything. You still would not vote for Hillary over Donald Trump.
I don't know. I really don't feel comfortable.
What do you think would happen?
I don't like. It's not that. It's the whole point. Like, why vote for somebody I don't like?
Well, our system is. I mean, the system is stupid.
I don't.
Yeah, but like I think there's a huge just forget the Democrats like even though the Democrats are shit anyway, they're still a ton better than the Republicans.
I don't vote. I vote
Like-
for the person I'm voting for. I don't vote to vote against somebody.
Well, here's
it's like Trump isn't even there. Like I'm not even considering Trump. I'm just looking at Hillary. Hillary sucks. I don't want to vote for her. Everything else is irrelevant.
You vote for Trump, so Trump basically just passed this tax plan, which will eventually majorly hurt our economy, cause lots of people to lose Medicare and Medicaid later on. He's trying to like get rid of healthcare, pick people's healthcare. People have less people have healthcare now than they did when than he was elected. All these things, bad things. People are going to keep getting hurt and hurt and hurt. But you don't like Hillary.
I mean, don't teach people to stop being fucking idiots.
It doesn't teach anybody. It's like you could have just voted for Mickey Mouse. It would have been the same thing. Like you're basically just not voting.
I don't personally. Why do you dislike Hillary, Jay?
She's dishonest. She's totally backs the corporations.
But they all back every president does. Literally every president we've ever had backs corporations.
Well, she's like all about the big banks.
Yeah, they all are.
Well, I don't like all.
Our government is. Our government is. Yeah.
Well, I don't like them.
You believe they're all the same. There's no one can be worse than anyone else.
No, I didn't say that. I just said I'm not voting for somebody that I think is terrible.
You could have voted for Bernie, or you couldn't have. Like he wasn't on the thing.
You could have written him in, but he dropped out of the race. He wasn't on the ballot.
Yeah. Because I didn't vote because I was disgusted by this election, but I would have voted for Bernie probably.
But if you had to choose between Hillary and Trump, you would still choose Hillary.
Yeah, I would choose Hillary. Yeah, if I was in a state that mattered, I would have voted for Hillary. Just because I knew Trump was gonna our safety is at risk here. Our allies are hate us. It's really bad.
He keeps threatening having these war of words on Twitter.
Did you see that thing about what he said about Canada's prime minister and it's the stupidest shit. He's saying shit about his our allies and stuff. It's really bad.
I don't mind that now he's speaking to the president of North Korea if that even happens, Kim Jong. But
whatever, yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
That nothing's gonna happen from that. North Korea he's just fucking with him basically.
I just at some point someone's gonna be maybe they're so scared of Trump that they attack first.
I don't think they're scared of Trump. Honestly,
or just scared that he's
you think
crazy.
Kim Jong-un is scared of Trump? He's not scared of Trump. He's fucking with him.
Well, you know what? You get to the point George Bush decided we had to attack Iraq. We had to intervene. Iraq basically probably at some point should have said, George Bush is crazy enough. Maybe we should launch an attack on the United States first. Which is insane anyway because we wiped out Iraq. So what do they have to lose? If you know you're going to be wiped out anyway. Yeah. So maybe he says Donald Trump is going to wipe us out. We think he's that crazy.
Trump hasn't really made any threats. He said you shouldn't do this or I'm going to do this.
He's made a lot of threats. George Bush obviously went farther and kept saying he needed to wipe out Iraq. But basically Iraq did nothing to us. And there was no threat whatsoever, and he decided to launch a war to wipe these guys out. We have a history of doing these things where we intervene in other countries and try to wipe out their leaders.
Yeah.
We have a strong history of overthrowing other countries. So at some point people are well, this guy seems crazier than most. Maybe he'll drop a bomb on us, an atomic bomb. Maybe that's what he's gonna do. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I think if you're North Korea, as soon as you start a war, your country's gonna be annihilated. It would have to be I don't know. I just think it doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. But unless you think you're already gonna be annihilated.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
Mike writes, big fan of Brink and the Nick show. I got to say, though, the last episode was so depressing, I felt compelled to join your Patreon to keep the show /Jay alive. It's time for those loyal listeners to give back. Thank you, Mike. So if you want to join our Patreon, it's patreon.com/thebrinkofsanity. It's basically a way for you could donate as little as $1 a month, and it helps support the show.
I know this is not the Nick. Thank you, by the way, for donation. That's awesome. By the way, I know it's not the Nick show, but Frank Ntilikina played 13 minutes tonight.
Stop talking about the Knicks. We'll do that.
How do you not want Hornacek fired? The guy's just a fucking asshole. He's just playing for his job. He does not give a shit about the Knicks' future.
Okay, this is why we have 2-hour shows.
Okay, fine. Go on.
He also wrote, Bry's movie reviews got me thinking. You guys need to come up with some different segments to spice up the show. You used to do more things like the random word generator and top fives. What other things have you done in the past? You should brainstorm
I remember
ideas on the next show.
I remember the random word generator.
I think we should bring that back. Obviously, we don't have time this episode. But let's bring the random word generator back for next show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, I like that. We could do top fives too. Maybe you should just ask for top fives in the next questions thread.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I feel like we've done a lot of good top. Yeah,
the top 5 ones were good. Like I listened to those; those were good.
Yeah. I don't think we can do it. Like I don't want to do a whole top 5 episode, but maybe we can do like another top 5 a show.
Yeah, if you get a questions thread, we could just go back to that each episode and do a top 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll ask. Yeah, I'll say like, can we have a top 5? Oh, yeah, top 5 ideas, and we can. Yeah, okay. I got it.
Yeah. Also, Jay, they make this drug that could really help you with your crippling anxiety. It's called weed. Thanks for the like.
It's called weed.
Weed started giving me anxiety attacks.
Yeah, Jay, that didn't work for Jay. It was the opposite.
Weed's pretty nice. It's a good way to relax.
I think like if you don't do it a lot, it's all right. But if you've there's a limit. It does something if you do it a lot. It works differently depending on how often you do it.
So if you want to email us, it's thebrinkofsanity@gmail.com, and we are brinkofsanity3 on Twitter, and brinkofsanityshow.com is the website.
What's your home address? If say you don't want to post money.
Skype just really.
Mark just sounded like Tron.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened? Did that sound normal?
No.
Yeah, we didn't hear what you just said.
Oh, God fucking damn it. I just said, fuck it. Go on. Move on with the show. Fucking Skype. By the way, Jay found somewhere online where someone was talking about the Nick show and said, great podcast. The quality sucks, though. Not the
production
quality.
value.
Production value sucks. So we got that going for us.
Well, we asked for 4 straight episodes how the show sounded, and not one person mentioned it. But then
I listened to it didn't sound that bad from what I remember. I think I listened to the first half of the Knicks one, but at least.
Well. Anyway, you guys want to wrap this up?
Wrap it up.
Or
we're losing Mark anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mark, your connection is totally just died.
Yeah. Someone broke your Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Nope, not working. Not working.
Yeah, we just hear like.
So maybe there was a valid
buzzes.
point when that guy mentioned production value.
Yeah.
I know we have Facebook questions. We're gonna have to do them next episode because it's getting late
and we lost Mark.
Yeah. So thank you for listening, everybody. We'll be back next week, and yes, we will do your questions. So don't yell at us.
We did no questions this week.
We did 2 emails.
We didn't the Facebook question. What happened with that?
We did a 50-minute nanny story instead.
Fuck you.
Keep your nanny stories to a lean 40 minutes, and then we can do questions.
Oh, God damn it. We could have done 10 minutes of questions on this. Whatever.
We could have. Yes, we could have.
Maybe we should do the nanny story after the questions and then not do the nanny story.
Okay. Fine. Whatever. You guys didn't like my nanny story?
No, it was all right, but it did go kind of long.
Yeah, it was like the super extended cut where after you watch it, you're like, maybe the regular theatrical release was enough.
Okay, fine. You guys could have moved. You guys could have moved it along.
No, we couldn't have.
No, I don't think it would have worked.
You were unshushable.
Well, I'm super. I need to talk about it. Whatever. I'm super stressed about it.
This is a podcast, but it's also therapy for Mark.
Yeah, why couldn't it be therapy? We had therapy for Jay last week. It was super depressing. Now everyone's gonna hear about my nanny story.
That's why we had the doc on. Except I couldn't help him at all.
No.
I mean, to summarize, all the Facebook questions are about me being depressed and cryptocurrency doing bad and not killing myself. So there we go.
We could add this to the show.
This is the show.
Are we still recording?
Yeah. I'm gonna play the goodbye song now, though.
You actually could read all these questions in a matter of 38 seconds and be done with the show because they actually are all They literally are. Like, has Jay flown his drone yet? You have a drone?
Yeah, a mini drone. I have not flown it yet.
Everything else is like, cryptocurrency sucks, and that really does suck. I really feel like I just wasted $1,500.
Well, just give it time. It can't just disappear.
I'm not gonna give it time. I'm not gonna do anything with it. What's the point? It's like worthless. It's getting closer and closer to worthless. You might as well just keep holding on to it.
Yeah.
I'm just amazed how bad it's doing. I remember I used to check this stuff every I check this stuff every 20 minutes. I kept looking at that WorldCoin index.
I mean,
stuff.
it should have never went to the price that it did. Like, that was way overinflated.
And now it just keeps going down and down. Ethereum's at 594. Holy fuck!
I think
it'll go back. I mean, it may go back up. It's just it was overinflated. So I think a lot of people bought it at the wrong time.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, some of these things went up 1,000%.
I mean, last year, I think it was the summer I was thinking about buying it, and Bitcoin was 3,000 or 4,000, and by the end of the year, it was 20,000. I mean, that wasn't that just didn't seem right.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare it even to 6 months ago, everything's still up from 6 months ago. We just bought a lot of it when it was too high. I mean, I still think it's going to go back up. It's just going to take a lot longer than we were expecting.
I think it'll level off at some point. It'll probably go up, it's a little bit, but I don't think it's going to. I think 20,000 was too much.
It might get back there. I think it might get back there, but at a normal pace. If every couple of months it goes up a few hundred.
Because it went up 300% in 6 months last year. So
exactly. At a normal rate, I think everything could get back up to where it was and more. It shouldn't do that. If you see it do that in a course of 2 months, like we did, that should have been a red flag.
It's funny. Every time I thought about buying cryptocurrency, I got to, I signed up for the site and it was a bunch of steps, and I'm like, I'm not doing this. It's just it freaks me out, giving all that information over to something that I'm not sure what they're doing with it.
It's weird. Also, you have something there's I'm looking at the crypto WorldCoin index, and so you go down the list, you find something called H share. I'm like, what the fuck is that? All these things are going down anyway. It's market value is still $230 million.
Yeah, I know.
How the fuck is it worth $230 million?
I know, it's crazy.
Bitcoin is dropping out of nowhere. How is this not fucking dropping out of nowhere?
But also, the amount of volume that even the shitty coins have, it's unbelievable.
That's what blows my mind even more. How is you would think with everything the prices leveling off, 1,000 of these coins wouldn't exist anymore. They would just go away.
Yeah. Well, they will eventually, but it's they just throw these coins out there and they make a shitload of money. So there's no incentive not to just keep making more coins. Every time someone does an ICO, it's they just make a bunch of money.
QuantStamp is at 99 in the list. It's worth $86 million. Who the fuck owns QuantStamp and thinks this is a value? How is this just not worthless?
Once it was more than 10, it was okay, you guys got to figure out which ones are the real ones, because you're not going to have 1,000 different currencies. That's just, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's what's so crazy. There's thousands. There's how many with Jay? 2,000 of these coins?
About 1,500, yeah.
I mean, half of them are jokes.
Number 201 is called Wings. It's worth $46 million as far as the market cap. This has $46 million in value. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if we knew how to make a Bitcoin, we would totally do that.
I mean, that's really what we spend all our time doing. That's what everyone else is doing.
We're wasting our time doing these podcasts.
I mean, Marc sent me a link. Apparently, it only takes 10 minutes.
You should get Bitcoin private. It's at 265. It's worth $768 million. All you have to use is the word Bitcoin with it. Why don't you call it Bitcoin Excelsior?
Jay,
and there you go.
Jay, you can do this podcast for $200 every 2 months, or you could do a cryptocurrency and make $68 million.
Yeah,
what?
Jay, why don't you take all the money we're making from our Knicks podcast and put that into inventing a new coin, and then it'll be list number 427 and worth $38 million.
By inventing a coin, what, you have to come up with a name for it, and then what's the other step? What else do you?
Why don't you call it Awesome Bitcoin?
Why don't we just
Awesome
call
coin.
it Bitcoins with an S? And people will accidentally buy it.
People get confused and they buy yours instead.
Yeah, exactly.
No, buy it with a Z. All the young kids like it with like a weird spelling. You should call it Toys R Us coin. It's out of business anyway.
Yeah, Toys R Us.
Feather coin is worth $23 million. What the fuck is like
Feathers coin? Let's just add an S to every coin that's out there. Have people accidentally buy all
We should make one coin, like Bizarro coin. We should just make a Bizarro coin.
You could buy Dignity for $210 million.
We should just make a coin to spell every coin backwards, and that's like.
I
like my S idea. Ethereum's.
Yeah, the S is better. I think S is better because people will get confused and buy the other one.
I understand, like, you can't, like, steal. I couldn't, like, I can't steal a name out there. I couldn't, like, I couldn't come up with a store and call it Targets. Like, I couldn't steal their name because
Really?
Target will sue me.
Yeah, you'll get sued. You'll probably get Bitcoins too.
You get sued. You can't just pretend you're Target with an S. But my question is,
I thought that was a good idea.
No. Well, here's my question. Going your idea. Who sues you? Who owns Bitcoin that sues you? If you did that, like, who sues you? Like, is there someone that could owns Bitcoin where they would own the right to the name Bitcoin where they could sue you?
There are people that are. Yeah, that's true. It's supposed to be decentralized, right? So.
Does someone own the trademark Bitcoin?
Huh. Probably.
What are they going to take? I'm worth negative $35,000.
The thing is, if you're worth suing, then that means you've already made a lot of money, and then you could probably pay a lawyer.
Right.
It turns out, like, a little money that every like the commercials for our Nick podcast, we have to add an extra commercial for the legal fees. For the fee, they're like the judge is like, I ordered a decree. Half of all Nick commercials go to this person.
I mean, I
made $200 a month, and I had to pay $20 to this person because they sued me.
The guy that owns Bitcoin keeps calling you up. Jay, don't skip an episode this week. I need the money. Get the fuck on this.
I mean, I have nothing in savings, and I have $30,000 in student loans. So if they sued me, they'd be writing me a check.
They're like the judge orders they take over your loans.
It's like
no, they own your podcast.
Well, no, they'd probably
you'd have to surrender your podcast.
Still,
what if they countered with they called their podcast Bricosanides, and they had an S to it?
They'd probably get more downloads than us.
Yeah, they get more downloads. New York Knicks podcasts with an S. Then you're like, oh, whatever they're doing. They're I don't know why they even put out shows. You tune into their episode, like John Starks is like the guest host.
Oh, good. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We will be back soon.
And if you hated my nanny story, go fuck yourself.
I didn't hate it. It was just a little lengthy.
Oh, well, I've been dying to talk. I need this. What am I going to go to a therapist like Jay? I need a therapy on the show.
All right. I'm going to play the goodbye song.
I asked my wife, like, can I discuss on the show? She's like, what the fuck I care what you do on the show.
Nobody listens to it anyway.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. Say that go away. I'm gonna leave.